When I was 29 years old, I co-founded a company and scaled it. It was called Elevate Inc. We scaled it to 2,000 employees. Now, it was super stressful, the growth process along the way, but there was one framework that I learned that helped me not to lose my ever-living mind. And it allowed me to build the high-performing team that I dreamed about. And this is the same framework that I've taught to sales leaders all over the world for the last decade. And the reason it's so effective is because it provides a roadmap of 4 duplicatable, consistent stages that every new team is gonna go through. And as you build and scale your team, there will be a ton of struggle along the way, and there's lots of low points that you're gonna have to be able to navigate. And if you don't know how to anticipate and navigate these challenges, it'll be a ton harder for you to successfully lead your team. So in this video, I'm gonna break down what the 4 stages are, how to identify which stage you're in, and ultimately how to navigate the stages to build a high-performing team. Okay, so stage 1 is forming. Now the forming stage is like the honeymoon. It's like the honeymoon, everything's new, everything's fresh, everything's exciting. Now whether it's a new job, a new sales team, or even a new relationship, people are optimistic. Things look bright, it's exciting, there's a new opportunity. This is when you're gonna have the highest motivation up front and eager to make things work. Now this is critical for you as a leader to set the tone, because the cracks that you don't address now will end up widening, could become as big as the Grand Canyon later. And so here's a quick tip. Use this time in the forming stage to over-communicate clarity. Now you might think you're being super clear already, but double down to reinforce that clarity. Now, if you don't feel like a broken record as a leader, you're probably not being clear enough with what you expect from your team. Don't assume people know what to do. Set crystal clear expectations. You don't need to overmanage or micromanage, but lay the ground rules up front clear and strong. Okay. And so with that, you want to give your team the guidance that they need to set them up for success and give them that encouragement that they're going to be able to crush it in their role. Now think of it kind of like laying a foundation for a house. If you get it right, the structure is going to hold strong, and it'll hold strong for the long term. Okay, stage 2. This is the storming phase. The honeymoon is over. It doesn't last forever. And storming is when the conflict phase begins. This is where frustrations, doubts, disagreements, they're going to start rearing their ugly heads, and maybe someone feels unheard. Maybe somebody's dropping balls. The processes aren't working. The expectations clash with reality, right? It's a lot harder than we thought it was going to be. And it's hard to lead during this stage as a leader, because this is where they tend to fall apart. And this stage brings with it what I call a strategic inflection point. Kind of like forming is exciting and then storming. And like there's a strategic point somewhere at the bottom that it's like, do I quit? Am I out? Or do I keep going and be able to lead to the next phase? But this inflection point, people either push through it, they just deal with the discomfort, or they quit and they just eject. I'm out of here and go do something different. And with a honeymoon, it's like, I'm out of here, I'm getting divorced. With a team, it's like, I quit, I'm going to a different company. And the stakes are high. And if you handle this stage poorly, you could lose your team's trust. The morale is going to be low, and even members of the team are just going to quit literally entirely. Now listen, I've been there many times. And one example that sticks out to me that I'm going to share with you is during my early stages in door-to-door sales. My first year managing a team was horrific. It was brutal. More than 50% of my team quit. And they blamed me for being a bad manager. The thing is, they weren't wrong. I learned how to sell personally, but I didn't know how to reverse engineer my success to coach, mentor, and teach others to be successful. And being good at sales and being good at leadership are 2 totally different skill sets. Now here's 3 tips on how to navigate the storming stage. First, acknowledge the conflict. Don't ignore it, or don't hope it goes away. You want to address challenges head on. Second, to acknowledge and address the conflict head on, you want to be what I call soft like a brick. The soft part is they need to know that you care about them, that you have their best interest at heart. Now the brick is being willing and skilled to have the needed hard conversations. And you want to create a space where team members, they can voice their concerns and feel comfortable and safe to be able to do so. And a simple one-on-one can be an absolute key to flesh out concerns, build rapport, and help the people you lead to level up. Okay, the third key in this phase of storming is you want to prepare them for opposition. You want to remind your team that storms are normal and they're necessary. in order to reach high performance together, and that the discomfort is actually a sign of progress as long as we work together to resolve them. Help the people you lead to anticipate the storm phase, because anticipation will give them the edge over the opposition. In fact, Tony Robbins talks about anticipation is the competitive edge in life, and I found that to be true as I've been building and leading teams. Okay, stage 3 is the norming. So you have storming, is over, and then if they don't eject out, they keep in, they stay in pocket, they don't quit. Norming is the next step. And this is the sweet spot where things start to click. Almost like the Matrix moment where everything slows down. It's like, oh, okay, you start, you're able to anticipate and you're able to move forward, and things slow down to where it's like starting to get some traction. Now, roles become more clear. Communication improves, and the team begins to operate more smooth together. It's not perfect, but it's progress, right? Now, during this stage, habits are formed, trust is solidified, because you've had some of the hard conversations that create breakthroughs, and then momentum builds. And this stage can feel, after you get going, could feel repetitive. It's like a grind, and this can go on for some time, even years. And this stage is where many leaders can lose their focus and really even just quit right here before reaching the final stage, the next phase, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Now, here's a few tips to navigate the norming stage. First, you want to celebrate small wins. Keep morale high by recognizing the progress that you're making and the momentum that is starting to build. And even if the team isn't hitting massive milestones yet, show them how far they've come, both individually and collectively, as a whole team, and also the individual people that you're leading. The second tip here in the norming stage is keep pursuing the standard. Don't let the team settle for good enough. This is where you can start implementing systems and processes to make success duplicatable with your team. And so you want to do so. Third, have fun doing meaningful work. Mix it up. Keep things interesting. Keep things fresh. The norming stage, again, can take years. So don't let things get stale. Don't let things get boring. Like I think of my favorite movie, Groundhog Day, where it's the same day over and over and over, almost for eternity. You want to keep developing your skills, keep things moving, keep things interesting, invest in your team's development, invest in your development as a leader. You're going to want to do things like monthly outings, like where you're outside and you're doing stuff together. Quarterly offsite events where you break away and have some breakthroughs. In fact, if you're headed for a breakdown, you want to break away to break through. So get yourself out, mix it up, and complacency is your enemy. And listen, success leads to complacency, and complacency leads to failure. So beware of complacency. And when you start seeing some success, but don't allow yourself to just be like, we've got this, right? And allow yourself to spiral downward into complacency that leads to failure. So keep your team focused on the bigger picture and continue to coach them through the challenges that are just inevitably going to arise. So forming leads to storming. Storming, if we don't quit and eject out, storming leads to norming, which then leads to the final stage, performing. And this is where every leader dreams to operate from, and really few arrive here because they really don't have the patience or pay the price to reach it to hit this fourth stage. Now, in this fourth stage, the team is cohesive, become aligned. Everyone's rowing in the same direction, and we're executing at a high level. This is where members trust each other. Team members, the trust fall. We trust each other, and when we fall, we've got each other's back. Now, this is where we're hitting and exceeding our goals, and the work feels meaningful. Now, just because you've reached this stage, that does not mean that you can hit cruise control. If anything, this is the time to double down on what's working and make sure the team continues to feel motivated and connected. Now, how to maximize the performing stage? You want to recognize and reward excellence. Quick, often public, also private, and make sure your team knows how much you value their contributions. You want to keep raising the bar even higher and higher in your team's performance. There's always room for growth, and don't settle with mediocrity. You want to challenge your team to set stretch goals and take on new opportunities. And don't forget you work with people. And now, high-performing teams, they burn out if they're not cared for. So prioritize your team culture. Hold regular one-on-one check-ins with each of the people that directly report to you. And if you have a large team where you have people that work with you, that work with them. Make sure everybody that reports to you, that has their direct reports, are having regular one-on-one check-ins. In fact, the key to successful team meetings is effective one-on-one meetings where you get the pulse. You get to know what's going on, and you're able to flush out, potential concerns and also develop your people one-on-one. So then it allows your team meetings to just become way more productive. I'll never forget when my team, that we called ourselves the Dynasty. In fact, we had a dynasty crest, and the dynasty the definition is a succession of rulers from the same family or line that are distinguished for their success, wealth, and brotherhood. And so that's what the word dynasty actually means. And so we had a dynasty, and in fact, my partners in the dynasty, Jared Taggart was the main leader. Learned so much from him, and then Ryan Roach. The three of us, we created this dynasty, and these are our managers. We had a huge team, hundreds of people. We had our top key people, the managers, and we had, I don't know if you could do this today in the HR, but we pricked. This is up on stage at one of our events. We pricked our fingers and we bled oath to the dynasty, where we would have each other's back and serve at a high level. And the dynasty, through the moments of creating, of the hard work, we went through the forming. It was fun. Then we stormed together. And it didn't work. It was mad with lots of frustration. We made it to the norming phase. And eventually, after several years, we were able to achieve high performing and the fourth stage. And it was so rewarding, such a rewarding moment. But we knew it wasn't the finish line. We immediately were setting new, higher stretch goals, which I recommend for you. Once you reach the performing stage, you want to take that momentum and push everybody further and reach even higher heights, or else everything just stalls out and you become mediocre. The easy part's getting to the top. The hard part is staying there. And so once you hit the performing stage, you gotta stay there. Because the reason why is you're gonna have like a target on your back. People are gonna try to take you down, and all sorts of, you're gonna try to sabotage your success, right? Fires bring fire trucks, and success brings haters. As you reach the performing stage, you're gonna have people hating on you. Just inoculate yourself from that. And one way you do that is this is one thing we did. We just strengthened our culture to help and stay at the top. Okay, here's my final thoughts on performing. The reward of this stage isn't just the success. It's in the transformation you see in your people. You're also going to see it in yourself as a leader. And as you grow as a leader and as a team, you grow together as you overcome massive obstacles and challenges together, and you become a cohesive unit, a team that performs together. And you don't just start at the performing stage. There's this cycle of high performance that we've been talking about. And in these stages, forming, storming, norming, performing, you'll find leadership in action. Now listen, to close out this video, because there's only so much I can share with you in a short video, one of the most important parts of building a profitable business and a team that lasts through the stages that heads to performing and lasts and stands strong through the long haul is being able to retain your team. You got to be able to retain your team. Now, over the last 20 years, I've found 4 game-changing secrets that have finally helped me to skyrocket my retention. And I've taught them for more than a decade to my inner circle, and I've taught them all over the world. You can't find them anywhere else, and these 4 principles and strategies and tools actually work. Now, I just created a mini masterclass that will share these secrets with you totally for free. You don't have to pay 1 penny. So if you're serious about building a high-performing team, this will help you make that happen to retain your team. Now, you can get access to these secrets in the first link in the description here below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like so this can reach more people. And if you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. I want to hear from you either way. And just make sure you tell me in the comments what I can do better for you. Okay, listen, make it a great day.